They said the jungle swallowed bullets like quicksand. They said no sniper could see through its living walls. They said she didn't belong on the team. In exactly 15 minutes, 3 American lives would hang on the one thing they didn't believe. She had perfect sight in zero visibility. The Amazon rainforest breathed, not metaphorically, not poetically, it literally breathed. A thick, wet exhalation rose from the jungle floor every few seconds, mist curling between ancient mahogany trees, vines hanging like nooses, leaves so dense they blocked out 90% of the sunlight. The air was heavy with moisture, so thick it felt like swimming through warm soup. Every breath was a struggle, every step a battle, and in the heart of this green hell, 4 elite snipers crouched. 3 men who had proven themselves in deserts, mountains, and urban war zones. And one woman they still didn't trust. Lieutenant Natalie Ghost Hayes lay perfectly still, her M24 SWS sniper rifle cradled across her knees, her cheek pressed against the stock, her eye locked into the scope. Her body was motionless, her breathing controlled, her mind sharp as a scalpel. Around her the jungle was alive, dripping water, rustling leaves, distant bird calls, the occasional screech of a howler monkey, and beneath it all, the faint, rhythmic crunch of boots on damp earth. She saw them, all 12, through layers of vegetation, tangled vines, shifting shadows. She saw them, but the others, they saw nothing. Zero visibility, 0 hits. Master Chief Marcus Caney announced, his voice low but sharp, cutting through the humid air like a knife. He stood a few meters behind the 3 SEAL snipers, Staff Sergeant Rivers, Petty Officer Martinez, and Corpsman Jackson, all scanning the jungle with frustration. "This jungle swallows bullets like quicksand," Caney muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. "Maybe we should call for air support instead of relying on—" He never finished, because none of them knew. In exactly 15 minutes, 12 enemy combatants would have 3 American intelligence officers in their crosshairs. And in exactly 12 seconds, the execution order would be given. And in exactly 1 shot, Natalie Hayes would change everything. But right now, she was invisible. Not just physically, camouflaged in full jungle gear, face painted, body still, but professionally. Dismissed, doubted, tolerated. At 29, she was the first and only woman assigned to SEAL Team 7's elite sniper unit. Her record was flawless. Top marks in long-range engagement, tracking, survival, and fieldcraft. But none of that mattered here, because here, in the Amazon, the old rules applied. Jungle warfare is about volume, not precision. You can't snipe in 0 visibility. Women don't have the patience for this kind of hunt. And so, when Caney gave the orders, he didn't assign her a firing position. "Hayes, you're on overwatch," he said, his tone dismissive. "Try not to shoot any trees." The others chuckled. Rivers smirked. "Yeah, save your ammo for when you actually see something." Martinez added, "Maybe stick to target practice back at base." Natalie didn't react. She just adjusted her scope and kept watching. The enemy patrol moved like shadows. 12 hostiles, all armed with AK-47s, all moving with military precision. No random insurgents, no drug cartel thugs. These were professionals, former special forces, likely ex-military from a hostile regime, operating under the cover of a narcotics network. Their gear was advanced. Encrypted radios, night vision-capable optics, GPS trackers. They had taken 3 American intelligence officers hostage during a failed reconnaissance mission and were now moving toward a remote extraction point. If they reached it, the hostages would vanish forever. Satellite intel confirmed the route. SEAL Team 7 was the only unit close enough to intercept. But the jungle had other plans. Rivers fired first. Crack, crack, crack. 3 rounds from 200. Meters north, bullets shredded leaves, splintered bark, but found no flesh. The enemy scattered instantly. Martinez fired from the east. Crack, crack, crack! Same result. Jackson joined from the south. Crack, crack, crack! A crossfire that should have been devastating, but the jungle absorbed the bullets. The enemy vanished. Contact negative, Rivers reported, voice tight. 0 confirmed hits. These bastards are using the jungle like it's their backyard. Same here, Martinez growled. I can hear them, but I can't see them. It's like they know our blind spots. It's like shooting ghosts, Jackson added. They appear for a second, then disappear into green hell. Caney keyed the radio. All units, maintain suppressive fire. Drive them toward the extraction point. Air support is en route, 8 minutes out. But Natalie knew that plan was already dead. Through her scope, she saw the truth. The enemy had regrouped, and they were using the 3 American hostages as human shields. The lead operative was speaking into his radio, calling for immediate extraction, and the execution order, it was coming. She saw the commander check his watch, saw the hand signal, saw the soldiers raise their rifles. 3 minutes, that's all the hostages had, and air support was 8 minutes away. She pressed her radio. Chief, I have eyes on all 12 hostiles and 3 friendly prisoners. Enemy is preparing to execute the hostages. They're calling for immediate extraction. Silence. Then negative, Hayes. Impossible to have an accurate count in this vegetation. Continue overwatch. Do not engage without authorization. Her jaw tightened. She knew what that meant. You're not one of us. You don't see what we see. You're just a woman with a rifle. But she wasn't just a woman. She was a hunter. And she had been hunting since she was 12. Natalie Hayes didn't grow up in a city. She grew up in the deep forests of Oregon, old-growth timber, mist-covered valleys, elk trails that vanished in fog. Her father was a survivalist, a former Marine, and a master tracker. He taught her to read the forest like a book, not with her eyes, with her mind. Every forest has a rhythm, he used to say. Every shadow has a pattern. Every movement leaves a trace. If you're still enough, the woods will tell you everything. She learned to track elk through thick undergrowth. By the way, leaves trembled. She learned to predict animal movement by the sound of wind through branches. She learned to shoot through overlapping trees by calculating bullet deflection from moisture, angle, and density. The Amazon was different, bigger, denser, more dangerous, but the principles were the same. And right now, the jungle was talking. Through her scope, she saw the leader, crouched behind a massive cecropia tree, hand signals visible, radio antenna poking through leaves, communications specialist, hidden behind heliconia plants, speaking into radio, muzzle flash suppressor catching a glint of light. 4 fighters surrounding the hostages, AK-47s pointed at American heads, breathing visible in the humid air, perimeter guards spread out, covering all escape routes. She had memorized their positions, calculated the angles, planned the sequence. Because if she fired in the wrong order, the hostages would die. She took a slow breath, exhaled, and made the decision. She went hunting. Her first shot wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it was perfect. The bullet left the barrel at 853 ms. It passed through 2 layers of hanging vines, deflected slightly off a wet branch, adjusted for wind resistance in 98%. Humidity found its target. The communications specialist dropped radio silent, no backup call, no reinforcements. 1 down, 11 to go. The enemy froze, then panicked. Where did that come from? Someone shouted in Spanish. They scattered, but Natalie had already predicted their moves. She had studied their formation, knew their likely escape routes, and she was already tracking the next target. Second shot, 300 meters, through dense foliage. Bullet trajectory calculated for branch deflection, wind shear, and humidity drag. The leader fell. Execution order cancelled. Command structure broken. 2 down, 10 to go. "What the hell?" Kaney's voice exploded over the radio. "Who's shooting? Identify your position." Natalie didn't answer. She fired again. Third shot. A fighter raising his rifle toward the first hostage, a CIA analyst whose death would compromise operations across South America. Bullet passed through a curtain of moss. Target down. Fourth shot. Another executioner, finger on the trigger. Bullet intercepted. Target down. Hostages still alive. "Ghost," she whispered into the radio. Silence. Then, "Hayes, ceasefire. You're compromising the mission." But she was already tracking the fifth target. A soldier trying to rally the others. Fifth shot, headshot, through a gap in the canopy. Sixth shot, another fighter using a hostage as a shield. Bullet passed within inches of the American's head. Perfect. 7 targets down, 5 fleeing. But fleeing through the jungle against a sniper who understands the forest, that's suicide. Natalie didn't chase. She waited. Because the jungle reveals its secrets to those who listen. She heard the rustle of leaves, saw the pattern of disturbed vegetation, felt the rhythm of panicked breathing. 7th shot, a fighter trying to escape through a gap in the canopy. Bullet found him mid-move. 8th shot, another using a fallen. Log for cover, conventional tactic, useless against her. 9th shot, a man hidden behind hanging moss. He thought he was invisible. The forest told her otherwise. 10th shot, a soldier climbing a tree for elevation. She calculated his speed, his trajectory, fired mid-climb, hit. 1 enemy left. And he was smart. He wasn't running. He was flanking, moving with skill, using cover, staying low, a professional. But Natalie wasn't just a sniper. She was a predator. She tracked him through the scope, saw the slight movement of a branch, heard the crunch of a leaf, predicted his next step. 11th shot, silent, precise, deadly. The final enemy soldier fell. No last words, no final breath, just silence. And the jungle, breathing again. "All hostiles down," Natalie reported, voice calm. "American prisoners are safe and ready for extraction." Silence. 10 seconds of stunned silence. Then chaos. Did she just say all hostiles down? 12 kills through jungle cover? "I never even saw half those targets. She just wiped out an entire squad by herself." Kaney's voice cut through. "Hayes, what's your position?" "Same Overwatch position you assigned, Chief," she replied. 3 American intelligence officers ready for extraction. All enemy threats neutralized. 20 minutes later, the hostages were loaded onto evacuation helicopters, shaken, grateful. One of them, a Navy cryptographer, turned to Kaney. "She saved our lives," he said, voice trembling. "We were seconds from execution." Kaney nodded, but his eyes were on Natalie. Back at the forward operating base, the debriefing room was packed. SEALs, commanders, intelligence officers. Colonel Anderson stood at the front. "Lieutenant Hayes's performance," he began, "represents a new standard for jungle warfare operations." He pulled up the tactical map. Red X's marked 11 confirmed kills, each one with a calculated bullet path through vines, branches, leaves. 11 confirmed kills, Anderson continued. Trajectories required bullet deflection calculations through multiple natural obstacles. In conditions where 3 elite snipers achieved 0 hits, 1 sniper achieved perfect accuracy. Kaney stood up, slowly, his face unreadable. "Hayes," he said, "I owe you an apology. We all do. You didn't just prove you belong on this team. You proved you're the best sniper we have. Maybe the best jungle warfare specialist the Navy has ever produced." Rivers stepped forward. "How long have you been tracking targets like this?" "Since I was 12, Natalie said. "My father taught me to hunt in Oregon's old growth forests. The Amazon is bigger, but the principles are the same. Martinez shook his head. We've been doing it wrong. We thought jungle warfare was about firepower. Today, it was about precision and patience. Natalie smiled, just slightly. The jungle isn't your enemy. It's your teacher, if you know how to listen. Colonel Anderson walked over. Effective immediately. You're the lead sniper for all jungle operations. Your teammates will train under your supervision. We're also establishing a new jungle warfare training program based on your methods. For the first time since joining SEAL Team 7, Natalie Hayes smiled. Thank you, sir. I won't let the team down. But they already knew she wouldn't. 3 years later, Fort Bragg. A new training facility stood in the middle of a dense forest simulation zone. The Ghost Academy. A sign read, "In dense terrain, the unseen hunter wins." Inside, elite military units from 23 allied nations trained under Natalie Hayes' command. She had been promoted to lieutenant commander. Her manual, Reading the Green, Advanced Tactical Operations in Dense Terrain, was required reading for NATO Special Forces. Her techniques were taught not just to snipers, but to entire units. SEAL Team 7, now the most effective jungle warfare unit in the Navy. Every member had learned to read the forest, not fight it. Chief Caney, now her second in command, kept a map on his wall. 12 pins marked the Amazon mission. Dozens more marked her kills in jungles across the world. Underneath, in his handwriting, "She sees what others miss," and the phrase that became legend in the SEAL community. The jungle doesn't hide your enemies. It reveals them to anyone who knows how to look. Final chapter. The Whisper Inn. The green years later, when historians write about the greatest snipers of the 21st century, one name will rise above all: Natalie "Ghost" Hayes. Not because she was a woman, but because she was the best. She didn't break the mold. She redefined it. The woman who couldn't handle jungle warfare had become the most decorated female sniper in U.S. military history. Her record? 18 combat missions in dense terrain, 67 confirmed kills, all through vegetation, 0 friendly casualties. Under her command, 3 Presidential Unit citations, Distinguished Service Cross with Valor, youngest recipient in history. And her response to the doubters? Not a word. Just 12 enemy soldiers eliminated. 3 American lives saved. 1 impossible mission completed, because sometimes the most powerful response isn't loud, it's quiet, it's precise, it's one shot that echoes forever, and in the heart of the Amazon, where the jungle still breathes, they say if you listen closely, you can hear the whisper of the ghost.